The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone, another video, more books to review and more tea to talk about. So the only news that I have is, of course, the Wheat Ridge Farmers Market in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. We are there every Wednesday from 5 to 8. Stop on by. It really is a fun little farmers market. Plus you have the butcher shop and the actual co-op store in the same area. So you can get all your shopping done just by going to the farmers market. So like I said, it's every Wednesday from 5 to 8 in Wheat Ridge. And coming June 17th, I will be a vendor for the Golden Farmers Market, but their official date is June the 3rd. So if you're going to be in Golden during that time, go to the Golden Farmers Market. It is so much fun. The hours are from 8 to 1. I actually remember it this time. But like I said, I won't be there until June 17th, but it officially opens on June 3rd. So go enjoy and have a wonderful Saturday. Right, so let's begin with the books. But before I begin, he's been yelling at me saying that he hasn't had enough screen time. So, y'all remember lemongrass? He just wants to say hi. Hello, hello. I love my lemongrass. These are the jelly cats in England. They are some of the softest stuffed animals ever, and I adore my lemongrass. Anyway, he just wanted to say hi. All right, are you happy now? Good. All right, so the first book is the second book in the trilogy, and I just have to say, and the author already knows it because he and I are friends, Leo, Christian, I can't read your books during the daytime. At night. I cannot. I'll make the exception soon, but for right now, I can't read your books at night. This is the second book of Sins of the Father. This is A Life Without Fear. So if you remember in my last review with the first book, this deals with the resurgence of the Bourbon Street Ripper in New Orleans. And the ending to the first book was a cliffhanger because you're like, oh my God, who is this person? What is going on? Well, everything is, for the most part, kind of wrapped up in the second book. With the second book, you find out who's the new Bourbon Street Ripper, why they're doing it, and and their part to play. There's an even bigger play performance that's going on. And when you finish A Life Without Fear, you'll realize, oh my God, the Bourbon Street Ripper, this new one, I won't even go into it, but this series has the perfect amount of chills and spills and gory details, good guys, bad guys, voodoo, New Orleans, a little bit of history, romance, and like I always like to say, redemption. But this book ends again on a cliffhanger, and I just finished the third book, and Face Behind the Mask. I got it over here in line to be reviewed. And hell, you're gonna see it again anyway, but this is the third book and the final book in the series. As you can see, this is a hefty tome, but just with the first and the second books, you will fly through the third one. But I enjoyed it. I've read the first two books before, and actually I need to confess, and I reached out to the author and I was like, hey, I need to confess something to you, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it on video like you do. When I first read the first two books, I was like, wow, this is great. Oh my God, this is terrifying. This is New Orleans. But then when I got to the end of A Life Without Fear, I was like, am I missing something? What's going on? I don't really want to read the third book. And I politely told the author, and he was like, oh, okay, I understand. And that was years ago. So fast forward to now and wanting to reread the stories because they really were good stories. When I finished the second book, suddenly everything clicked. And I was like, oh, I just got this. So let's see. There we go. Stop. Okay. I hate notifications. You know, you think you turned off all your notifications on your phone and then it's like, hello. Anyway, sorry about that. But years later, when I reread the first two books, the third book was like, oh my God, it makes sense now. I don't know if I was in the wrong frame of mind or what, but this all makes sense. So I reached out to the author and I said, you know, look, I am so sorry for not getting it the first time. But you know, you when you're younger, you're in a different mind space, and but then when you get older and you've experienced a little bit more, and especially if you're a writer, you write a lot more and your viewpoint changes. You go back to the same book and sometimes you can't even finish it. And then other times you devour it and you say, okay, ding, I got it now. So it's the same with Sins of the Father. Book 3 was an excellent, I'll just go ahead and say, book 3 was an excellent ending to this very convoluted and twisted and extremely dark story. But yeah, A Life Without Fear, Sins of the Father, book 2, published through Grey Gecko Press, receives 5 pots of bloody Nolan's tea from Viridian Tea House. Like I said, I devoured this. And one thing about me is I've had a lot of people say, you know, how can you read all these books? I just don't have time. I don't have time. One, you make the time. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day, you make the time. And two, you know, this kind of goes into my own creative work as well because, you know, reviewing it for you guys. But yeah, when you start reading the first and the second book, be prepared to not really schedule anything for the rest of the day because you will want to fly through the book. I will say that now that I've read the third book, it was interesting to see how certain characters changed throughout the books, how mindsets radically did a 180, and lessons were learned. A lot of lessons were learned with this series. So, and I will say, Christian, if you're watching this, the Oracle, I had a feeling, but I was like, you know what? I think I'm wrong. But then when you revealed it, I was like, oh, okay, cool, I got it. But yes, A Life Without Fear, Sins of the Father, book 2 by Leo King. Excellent, excellent read. If you're into murder mysteries, if you're into anything New Orleans, if you're into voodoo and you want to, I do have to say this too. The handling of the voodoo loa in this series was well done. You know, they weren't just kind of thrown in. It's like, okay, let's go ahead and throw in some voodoo loa and, you know, people will buy the book. No, and Christian, and please answer this for me personally, but how much research did you do regarding the voodoo loa? Because it looked like you've done years and years of research. So it was just overall well done. I think you handled the loa really well. And I truly do appreciate the fact that these books are out so that people like you out there in the ether can enjoy them just as much as I do. But read them during the day. Don't read them at night. So thank you very much. Thank you. So let's see. I'll put it over here. So the second book, you know, I'll tell you something. I love my Goodreads account and I do the reading challenge. I don't know if any of y'all do, but my goal this year is 100 books and I think I'm like 1 or 2 books away. I've read a lot this year so far. And I've read some reviews of some books and I have to agree with some of them. And a lot of them I'm like, are we reading the same book? I mean, to each their own and all of that. But this one, The Oxford Inheritance by Anne A. McDonald, not a lot of people care for this book. And shout out to Inglewood Library. That's where I got it from. I remember I saw the spine and I was like, oh, okay, that sounds intriguing. Then I looked at the dust jacket and I was like, all right, you know, I'll give this a shot. Wow. If you're into dark academia like I am, which I didn't realize it was a term until like last year, if you're into dark academia, The Oxford Inheritance is really quite the nice little slice of dark academia cake. And what's interesting is that it's a great blend of history and dealing with Oxford and the myths surrounding that university, and some magic, some dark fantasy. But it was a well woven spell of a story. And I found that I was very engaged with it and I could not put it down. And I just found it interesting that some of the reviewers on Goodreads were like, oh, I don't like the magic and the characters just seem this and I don't like that. And again, to each their own. I'm not knocking you for it. We all can't like the same book. But having said that, the things that some people didn't like the book for, I thoroughly enjoyed it and I thought it blended really well. There were some hard lefts. There were some nice twists and turns. There was one where I was like, okay, I did not see that coming, and maybe I should have, but well done. Well done. But I'll just read the dust jacket for you. Let's see. When Cassie Blackwell arrives at the illustrious Raleigh College at Oxford, she hasn't come for the academics, the ivy-covered archways, or even the pub crawls and formal balls. She's on a mission to find the truth about her mother. Raised in America, Cassie has no idea that her mother had ever studied at the famed college until she receives a mysterious package. Enclosed is the ticket stub, Plymouth to New York by boat, 1994, a picture of Johanna in the full black regalia of Oxford University, and a cryptic note. Yearning for answers, Cassie travels to England, where she is plunged into the glamorous, secretive life of Raleigh College. Cassie finds a world like no other, full of ancient tradition, privilege, and murder. Beneath the hallowed halls of this storied university, there is a mysterious force at work, a dark society that is influencing the lives of many and will stop at nothing to keep its grip on power. Cassie might be the only one who can stop them, but at what cost? So, I read that and I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. And I was like, wow, there's a whole lot more to this story than the dust jacket wraps up in an elevator pitch. So, but I found this gruesomely entertaining. And like I said, if you're into dark academia, I mean, really, the Oxford Inheritance is quite the read. And it receives 5 pots of bloody British breakfast tea from Viridian Tea House. I enjoyed it tremendously. Truly, truly did. And I don't know, let's see. I don't know if this is the author's first book, but I hope she continues to write because it's quite good. And actually, a native of Sussex, England, Anne A. McDonald studied philosophy, politics, and economics at Oxford University before working as a music journalist and entertainment critic. She is now a full-time novelist and screenwriter in Los Angeles, California. So yeah, I hope that there's going to be more coming from her because this really, nice little slice of dark academia. So thank you very much. Thank you. So the tea for today is one of my own, and it is Tea of the Archaeologist. This is one of my rooibos blends, which is another term for honeybush, so there's no caffeine in it. It has a nice hay, honey, sweet taste to it, kind of sort of like chamomile, but just a little bit sweeter in a way. That's just my taste buds. So the story, I always tell my customers, there's a story behind all of my tea blends. So with regards to Tea of the Archaeologist, in fact, I was telling customers this yesterday at the farmer's market, I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was little. Like, I saw Indiana Jones and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to become. I want to do what he does, and I want to have a really cool hat, and I want to whip, and I want to dig and discover, lost civilizations or whatnot. Well, I didn't end up becoming an archaeologist. Instead, I started working in finance and anti-money laundering analyst, but that's a whole other story. But yet, I've always thought that archaeologists were just really, really cool people. And actually, I had a chance to attend the Archaeologist Society convention or something like that. And unfortunately, I had another event, but I ended up getting the program and the guide, and I was circling all the courses I wanted to take. And I thought, oh man, I want to hear some of these lectures and take these courses, but it wasn't meant to be. But still, for those of you who do know, many of my teas are science based, and I felt that archaeologists, just like astrophysics and quantum physicists, and all the other scientists in the world deserve a tea break. So, Tea of the Archaeologist is a rooibos blend with apple, lemon peel, chamomile, and lemongrass. And I chose those ingredients deliberately because if you were to pour this out onto a plate, it looks like a dig site. And okay, I take that back. It was kind of sort of accidental and kind of sort of on purpose, but when I blended it all together, I was like, this is like a dig site. Okay, I guess I was subconsciously trying to create this, but it is quite a delicious caffeine-free blend that you can drink year-round. You can drink it either hot or iced. And in fact, I have a pot of it hot right now. The camera's not doing it justice, but it's a deep orangey red kind of color. So I'm going to pour it in my Sakura mug from Aegean Goods. And here we go. I let this steep for quite a bit. One thing about caffeine-free tisanes is, you can let it steep for however long you want. The flavors will just get stronger. But this has been sitting for 16 minutes, which is how long I've been talking. So this is Tea of the Archaeologist by Viridian Tea Company in my Sakura Dragon mug. That's lovely. I needed this one. We just dealt with the spell of rain, and this is perfect for a rainy day. That's quite nice. That is quite nice. I'm noticing that there's no one flavor that's kind of standing out. It's like the rooibos is blending well with all the ingredients, but it's just making a nice, smooth tisane. But as always, I'm curious to know what flavors will come out once the temperature's cool. So that is all I have for today. But before we end, let's do our tea and our water meditation. You know the drill, so if you're ready, let's begin. And now let's end this meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Open your eyes or allow your eyes to come into focus again. And as we finish, have your cup of tea or water. Let's enjoy. Okay, now I'm getting the apple, the hint of a lemon peel, and the lemongrass, and the rooibos is still there. The chamomile, you know how chamomile works. It's kind of like, hi, I'm just gonna be quiet. But yeah, this is a nice This is a nice blend to enjoy throughout the day. You're not going to get wired. You're actually not going to get tired either. I mean, the chamomile will relax you, but you're not going to, or at your desk. So, delicious. Yeah, I'm getting more of the apple and the lemon peel and the lemongrass now. So thank you very much for coming to these videos. I truly do appreciate it. And as always, if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up and make some comments. Say, hey, you talk too much, or hey, I really enjoy the books, or hey, where can I get that delicious tea? Please reach out to me. I'm open. So, but much thanks to Anne A. McDonald and Leo King for their wonderful books. And much thanks to the great people at Viridian Tea Company, Strange and Unusual Tea Blends, for their Tea of the Archaeologist blend. So, as always, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high, and always remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I will see y'all real soon. Bye for now.